all in the thingy.
Squeeze up me.
Oh.
So, Ash, debut on TAC TALK, mate.
Welcome, mate.
Cheers.
Do you feel honoured?
I do feel honoured, to be fair. Normally it's being all Matt. So
Yeah. How are we doing then, boys?
Good,
Not
mate.
bad.
Yeah?
Not bad at all. Yeah.
just sweated out.
Yeah, what did you just do, mate? Just did Matt's class.
Matt's
Thursday
class.
morning.
Three sets, three sets of two, 3 sets of one. Barbell movement, so I power cleaned, and then gymnastic movement.
What did you build up to on the power cleans?
115 kilos.
PB in it?
Yeah.
PB power clean, not like
PB power clean, considering
What's your best clean? 125?
122.
122. God, I should be fucking cleaning more than that.
Considering more,
should.
yeah.
Especially considering how much you squat as well.
And deadlift as well.
Yeah,
considering
you'll get there. So what did you do the gymnastics movement with?
bar muscle ups. Obviously, have to work on them after freak accident.
Freak accident. I think that had more to do with your grip, mate.
Yeah, I think I did as well. To be fair.
Why don't we explain to people what happened?
Well, if I can remember, nice first day back on a Monday.
Yeah, it was a gym reopened.
Yeah,
the first
gym
fucking
reopened.
day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can't remember what the actual program was on the athlete program. To be fair, I can't remember what I did during the day. All I remember is, I think the last workout was something stupid. I think it was like 150 double unders, something into wall balls, and something else. And then the last one was something like 25 bar muscle ups. By the sounds of it, I got a bit overconfident, stringing 3s and 4s together, and then next minute I know, well, I'm in hospital.
Wow.
So I've seen the CCTV of it.
It's a beautiful bit of CCTV.
He did
Oh,
it.
is there CCTV?
Yeah,
footage of this?
He basically, as he went to kip, he fucking let go of the bar, didn't he? And basically the backflip, but he didn't move that squat rack from behind it, the one Matty uses.
And just
It's
landed
like
straight.
plowed into the squat rack.
Wow.
So a bit silly on his part.
So who was there? Like who
Dan was there. Wasn't he?
Dan and Terry were there because obviously it's the usual crowd for let's say Monday, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't too busy though, was it? It wasn't many in.
No, it was literally. I think it was just. I think it was Stephen was in as well.
Yeah.
And that's all I can remember. I can't even remember being in A&E very well. What else? I can't remember a CT scan or an MRI. And you think about an MRI, it's pretty loud.
Yeah, they are. Did you have an MRI then? Did you? Yeah.
Wow, man. So who called the
Well, you went home, didn't you? You didn't
Terry-
think you were that bad, so you went home.
I didn't think I was that bad, but Terry took me home. And
Started feeling sick, yeah?
yeah, he took me home. I think he's saying he knocked on my door. My dad answered, and he was like, "Yeah, Ash is not in a good way. Needs to take him to A&E." Obviously, during a global pandemic, going to A&E is quite.
Tombo knows about that.
Oh yeah.
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 It's not the greatest of places to go to because obviously you can only have technically one person in with you. So Terry couldn't actually take me. So yeah, he took me home. Dad took me in, from what I was told. And then all I remember is coming home, early hours of the morning, I think, maybe, or like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I think it was, after being discharged or sent home. And then had, when did I?
About a week off, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I had about a week off. I'd say a week off of, let's say, everything, and maybe came in and did like a bit of
General stuff.
just general cardiovascular stuff.
So that's why you were working on your muscle ups today, to get better. So what was the WOD? What was the WOD at the end?
WOD at the end. You go, I go, 4 rounds each. Even though we try to make it as 2 rounds each because it says 4 rounds, then you go, I go. But I'm winding Matty up. So deadlifts at 100. That was 10 of them into 12 single arm hang dumbbell snatch, 30 kilos, and then 15 bar facing burpees. Pretty tasty.
Yeah, it was quite tasty, man. Did you manage to deadlift unbroken? That's decent.
All deadlifts unbroken, all snatches unbroken, and then just ticked away
Burpees.
on burpees, and then obviously the last round just do a damn reader and send it.
Send it, yeah.
But not on the first round.
Dan gets a mention in every podcast, which is good. So how would you say your training's going, man? Like, just generally, like you've stepped, like last kind of year, you've really improved, like doing well, skill levels increased across the board.
Yeah, I'd say skill-wise, it's definitely gone up. Gymnastic-wise, up there. I think since kind of noticing that I've got a lot better than what I was going, and then obviously qualifying for, or doing the qualifiers for, let's say, European Champs, I've noticed what my weaknesses were, what my strengths were, worked more on my weaknesses, or working on my weaknesses, building up now to the European Champs, and then after that, probably carry on, maybe relax. I think after I've done European Champs, I'll relax a bit, and then ramp it back up. Well, obviously, because we've got qualifiers for SID team.
Yeah.
And if we qualify, obviously, we ramp it up for that. I say if we qualify.
You
we've
guys
got,
better fucking qualify.
Yeah.
Especially as the gym paid for your entry fee.
Yeah, and I think I heard, rumour has it, if we win the qualifiers, they're going to pay for our.
James
said he's going to pay for our.
But he'll sandbag the last qualifier if you had any chance of winning. Like he'd deliberately sandbag it just so you didn't.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's decent. Sounds like you're doing well. What would you say your weaknesses were? I know double unders are a big
double unders are a big one for me, but I think
They look a lot better, though, mate.
But you've been smashing them before and after every session.
Yeah,
and
before,
if it's something like double unders is kind of what you need to do, because
they come up in everything.
Yeah, and also like say if double unders come up in a comp, that should almost be your recovery.
Yeah.
Like you want to get so good at them that your heart rate doesn't really elevate when you do them. Like if you're doing double unders and you're just getting like smashed when you do them, and then you have to go into something else, it's going to be problematic, really, isn't it?
But yeah, double unders, I think, like I said, and both said, they've definitely improved. Like I said, smashing them before and after, and even in WODs now. To be fair, in WODs, I know I might trip up on the first little set, but then majority of the time I can start getting a bigger set in. Bar muscle ups I'm starting to work on now. I think with that it's just I've got the strength there for them. I think it's the confidence of just dropping back down and going straight back, linking them back up. Because ring muscle up wise, I find it easier, even though a lot of people say it's like harder. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's personal preference.
Yeah, I think it's a preference
I
thing.
went for a phase of preferring ring muscle ups. I think it was just because I was like relatively mobile, and I could just like kind of almost blag it a little bit. Whereas, initially with bar muscle ups, I always used to like chicken wing and stuff. It took me a while, but now, probably now, I'm probably better at bar muscle ups. But I think you just go through peaks and troughs of it all. Because I know for ages Bing was better at ring. He's done loads of bar muscle ups recently. Just think it depends where you're at.
Yeah.
But, T, how's your training going, man? You've been smashing the classes.
It's been good, man.
I've seen you sweating some out, mate.
Yeah, been pretty consistent.
Says he's retired from CrossFit.
I retired from competition.
The
mate.
competition's now.
Long retired.
He sweats because he wears like 10 layers in the classes.
No, it's been going well, to be honest. I injured my wrist on Sunday, so after the comp, or the throwdown that we did. Yeah, I woke up on Sunday morning and my wrist was just blown up.
Hold on, shall we clarify something? The throwdown you judged in.
You didn't
take part in it.
I didn't say. I mean, we did the gym.
I feel like we should get him to do the next one.
He will. He said the next one to me.
Yeah, I mean the throwdown we did as the gym, just to clarify. Right. So I woke up and my wrist was just blown up. I don't know what I did.
Did you do anything last week?
No, I mean I don't know if I just slept on it funny or what. But anyways, I could barely even move it. Whereas now I've got some flexion in it, but it's more extension like this. So if I do on Monday I was demoing cleans. Could we do cleans on the?
Struggle with the catch.
The catch was just like poker face.
Oh, really?
I was in agony. I was in absolute agony with just the bar. But it's all right if I can keep like a straight fist.
Yeah.
So for example, even on Tuesday, the workout, the I program had burpees in it, and I did the class 9:30, but I had to do burpees
on your fist.
on a fist, which was all right. But I mean, it slows you down a little bit,
yeah.
but it was all right.
Yeah.
But quite a fast healer. You know, it's all right. Just call me the Black Wolverine, mate. You know,
Black Wolverine.
But other than that, training going well, like getting fitter, getting stronger.
I feel it. There was like a turning point, maybe about like a month ago. I kind of felt like
you stopped dying.
I've got stopped dying in WOD, so I can do it. But like from a strength point of view, there's a foundation now. Before I felt like I had nothing. I was building up to that point. So now I feel like
something to build from, basically.
So I'm gonna get on a little creatine cycle from next week, because we had a conversation. I think it was me, you, and Mark.
Yeah.
We were talking about supplements, and then he mentioned creatine, and I was like, I haven't done creatine in a little while. You know, like it's been. I haven't done it since we were in Dickop. You know, like
really?
It's daily.
So that's like 6 years ago since I did creatine. So I thought I'll get back on the green bulge. Remember I used to take the green.
Yeah, man.
So I thought, I'll go try that.
What you used to take creatine last year?
Creatine, beta-alanine every day.
Did you take protein as well? Yeah.
Beta-alanine, man, that's one of those I've never got on with. You know?
So
since Matt Fraser mentioned it on that Joe Rogan
sales would have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
See, I took it way before that because obviously being at uni, one of the two ones that we studied probably the most, other than creatine being studied the most, is beta-alanine or beta-8, however people pronounce it nowadays, and beetroot juice or beetroots in general.
So I've heard quite a lot about beetroot juice.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of things about it.
Like you can get
for recovery and stuff.
Yeah, recovery and like I've noticed heart rate wise when I take it, my heart rate does like let's say drop because
beta-alanine.
No, beetroot juice I'd say more, but with beta-alanine I noticed lactic acid wise.
Oh really?
Buffer, so like I get rid of it so much quicker. So like a couple of weeks ago I think I took a month. So pretty much I have a supplement that's got like creatine, beta-alanine, and then I think it's like betaine in it. So they say three of like most researched.
Yeah, because creatine is the most researched.
Yeah, because everyone thought it was, obviously everyone classed it as like a steroid.
Yeah, because it was so good.
Yeah, because it was so good.
Yeah.
And then I take it on the daily, but for a month I didn't take it because I was like, where I was like, let's say moving house and moving around, I couldn't take all my supplements with me.
Oh right, okay.
Staying at like my mate's house, so I was like, right, which one shall I sack off? And I was like, well, I might as well just sack off the creatine and beta-alanine because even though to start with, I'd have said I probably didn't notice it as much, but when I took, let's say, this month off, like I noticed like the drop in like my lactic acid was building up. It just wasn't going.
You didn't have that threshold there anymore.
And since like retaking it now, like that workout then, I probably if you'd have got me to do that like a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have been like breaking it up.
Really?
Yeah. Or recover. I'd have slowed down on the burpees, bar facing burpees, or bar over burpees.
What aspect of beta-alanine? What is it about beta-alanine that makes it so kind of like good, basically?
I think one, let's say, it's. I don't want to say it's like a hidden one. Obviously, like you said, Matt Fraser mentioned it in the Joe Rogan podcast, but it's always been around, but it's always been, let's say, associated with like pre-workouts.
Yeah,
so you only ever see it in pre-workouts, and like I love caffeine, but let's say taking a high stim based pre-workout before coming and doing something like what we just did, my heart rate is just up there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think because I've noticed not taking it like pre-workout, I just use it as like what they class as a daily saturation product. You don't have that like it doesn't feel like it's got to be a pre-workout. It just feels like something you can take with creatine or something like you can take every day, and then. But
they say you have to take it every day, right? To reap the benefits.
Yeah, to reap the benefits. But then obviously a lot of people hate taking it because you get this tingly feeling, and the whole tingly feeling only comes with your body's not saturated to it. It's like creatine. Once your body gets saturated to it, like just taking it on the daily, you'll still notice it.
But so kind of like microdosing, or just
I think I take, so in the product that I take, it's got 5 grams of creatine in. I think it's 3.2 grams of beta-alanine in. I can't remember what the dosage of betaine is, Betaine's a completely different one. It's a bit of a, I don't know the whole aspects behind that one, but like just taking 3.2 every day, I think after a month, I've noticed the tingly feeling. I don't get the tingly feeling. Like so if I went to you to take betaine, you'd probably be like,
Mate, I remember the first time I took it.
Is that why you don't like it, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, like I remember we did it.
sensation.
I took it when we were back at Didcot, and Dan and Bing had been taking it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna try it. And we had a workout. I remember it had like running in it, and it didn't kick in like straight away. It kind of kicked in like mid-wad for me, and I was just kind of like, whoa, like what's going on? You know,
sweaty,
all
or
tingly.
like tingly, yeah.
We were just doing burpees, running. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. So after that, I was like, nah, you know, like I mean, I didn't know that was like a side effect.
Okay.
I just thought that was my reaction to it because I saw Dan and Bing and they were just smashing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe this thing isn't for me. So like, I just I left it alone. So I haven't touched it since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's you've got to get over that like saturation point. Once you get over that saturation point of it, you won't feel the tingles that much.
Okay.
You still feel them. I can tell you now, I still get them every now and then.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad. Like you said, you felt like it was. You had a reaction. And to be fair, I'd say the first week when I ever started taking it, I was there like what is this feeling like?
It is quite an odd sensation when you take it. Yeah.
But like I think sports performance wise, I've noticed it a lot. It's benefited a lot.
I mean, if it
more.
improves your kind of lactic threshold, you're
As
only
Matt
gonna
Fraser
get
put
better
it.
at any sport. Right?
I mean, he was like, it felt like it gave him a third lung, you know, like.
Yeah.
So
He raved about it.
Yeah, there's a few products out there nowadays that.
He took it dry, didn't he? He says he just took a scoop.
Some people do
just pops it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm there
whoa.
like, no, I've got to at least mix it with something, like wash it down with squash or something.
Yeah.
But there are like some out there now that are getting a lot more research done to them because of those benefits. I think there's a few like. It depends how much you research, like let's say sports supplements.
Yeah.
There's another one that's come out. It's got kind of like it's kind of been named. It's like a mix. It's called Pico 2, and it's like a mix of let's say mushrooms, but it's kind of got the same aspects of let's say beta-alanine. Let's say your beetroot juice. It helps with recovery, lowers.
Right.
Like the name kind of says it all. Like it's at Pico 2. What you think when I say that? What do you think? VO2 max.
Yeah,
it's like what you think.
Like peak O2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a lot of like ones that are coming out now, and some of them are just like mixes of like Pico 2. I think if I remember rightly, is like a mix of like mushrooms.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's what if you get the chance, like try like look at it, what it is. It's quite. I say it's quite niche. New to like let's say the market now. Obviously, I still look at let's say sports supplements, even though I'm not at uni like research like wise.
Yeah.
I still look every now and then, but a lot of people rave on about that as well. But I think basic wise, like you said, you're going to start creating them. Do it.
I'm excited, man. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you've done really well on it in the past. Haven't
oh
you?
yeah, I mean, I've always got incredible results on creatine. So I thought, you know, I know I want to put some weight back on again. So why not? You know, it should be good.
You boys been watching the games?
Catching up on it. So I mean, like, I had my little girl yesterday, so I didn't until the evening. I didn't really know what was going on. But then I woke up this morning and I watched 2 of the events. So I watched event 2 and event 4.
Yeah.
And wow, like for the girls.
I think I'm kind of like you two. Been working obviously late shifts all this week. Haven't really had the chance to watch it. Started watching the first workout this morning. Obviously that being the mile swim, 3 mile kayak.
Wasn't the greatest watch.
Wasn't the greatest watch because it is long. But I haven't seen anything like. I haven't seen let's say workout 2, 3, or 4 yet. But obviously I've heard there are some big things that have happened in it, like a 17-year-old smashing an unbroken set of thrusters and wall walks. You think
10 down to 1. I was quite surprised actually with some of the the female side's almost panning out how I expected. Apart from Cara Saunders,
she's kind of
but I think she I haven't seen it yet, but apparently she posted something saying like she's struggling, like
Is she not well?
She's not well.
Okay.
She's like 35th or something like that.
I wasn't expecting. I thought that she'd be.
I thought she'd do really well.
Yeah,
I honestly thought she'd be
top 10.
The way she
minimum.
smashed the regionals or the sanctions, semis. But other than that, the females is kind of panning out how I expected.
Yeah. Domination.
It's domination.
I thought she won those first 3 events, and you had that long one, that swim kayak. Then you had that WOD with the sled, the pig flip, and all those muscle up combinations. She did the bar muscle ups unbroken. Even the lads didn't even do that. And then the third one was that 550 metre sprint.
So that was one I didn't think that she would win.
Yeah, and not because I didn't think she was necessarily good at sprinting, but because the other people in the field. So you had the likes of Brooke Wells, who was like a collegiate sprinter, I don't know if she was collegiate level, but she was
a high level
sprinter beforehand. So like, I thought other people would just win that, but the fact she went and won that first event, which is a long, slow duration workout, and then won that 550 metre sprint, it's just insane. And then won that WOD as well, and then she comes second in the fourth one because Mallory O'Brien, 17 years old.
Well, she was doing the thrusters unbroken because she was resting at the top.
Unreal, and the fact she managed to do that. But I mean,
the funny thing about that was like the curse of the commentator. He was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend it.
You really need to drop the bar."
So she just goes and like literally.
The commentators sometimes crack me up in the CrossFit Games because like they've never competed at that level.
Yeah.
So like some of the lines they drop, like don't get me wrong, they obviously observe it very well and they're very knowledgeable. But like the amount of times they'll say shit and you're like, huh? And then like and then the athlete will go do the opposite, and then like prove them wrong, and it happens all the time.
It's like she heard them.
Yeah,
wasn't it? It was like she was like, I can hear you saying that I shouldn't go unbroken, but do you know what? Just for the gig, I'm just going to go for it.
But that was impressive. But yeah, I mean, like Tia's gonna smash it. Like.
It's done, man. After the first 3 events, I was like, just give it to her.
I think her points gap's already quite big.
Yeah.
I think Hayley Adams is doing well.
She's made a statement.
Yeah, she's done very well.
She'll podium.
She struggled a little bit on that last one, the thruster with the thrusters, but
strength.
Yeah, just it was heavy, wasn't it? But other than that, I think she'll do very well. The men's side's kind of surprised me a little bit more,
mate. Because it is open.
It's really open, which is
because
great.
it's not dominated anymore, is it? Like.
For example, like a lot going into that, Jason Hopper, he's like 16th, and which is not a bad place, but you expected more. Like Noah Olsen's in 11th.
Where's Justin Merritt?
He's second.
See,
and he started quite poorly. I think. I think he didn't do particularly well in the first 2 events. I say poorly, but just compared to what we expected. Yeah. But he's second. Brent Fikowski's first. I think Jonah
Koski, BKG's fourth.
BKG's fourth. Yeah. So
he was my pick, because I did say BKG, but then we had another chat. I changed my mind, didn't I? And I said Noah.
Yeah.
So, but now Noah's like in 11th, so I'm like,
you can't go back now.
Can't go back.
Nah. Well, I said Medeiros from the start. And I do think he just seems to be like. I know he won that event 4, which is great, but like I don't think he's going to be like. I know Panchik won event 4. He came second. He won his heat. He won the second heat. I don't think he's going to be like turning heads with his workouts, but he'd just be like slow. He's there.
Like, he's going to place like, let's say, like a decent average place that's just going to keep him.
If you just get a top 10 finish, top 5 finish,
the odd win. I think he will. Like I said, I was a bit surprised about Jason Hopper. I thought he would do better, but the games is a different beast to the semi-finals. Like semi-finals, like traditional CrossFit workouts. Do you know what I mean? Although I was a bit surprised with how he did on WODs 2 and 4. Just because he's a beast, I thought he would have thrown that barbell around like it was nothing. But those
heavy thrusters, man. When the weights came out, I was like,
what were the male's thruster then?
I think it was 185.
83 kilos.
83 kilos. But I think those wall walks it's such an equaliser. Like they just make it so difficult. Like you could be strong as fuck and smash the thrusters out. But those wall walks just humble people, and that was what was interesting on the girls' side. Is in the top 3, 2 of them were 17, and like in the open, you notice that a lot of the teenagers were smashing that wall walk workout, which is quite interesting to see.
I mean, it's an interesting combination because we saw wall walks in the open, didn't we? But they were paired with double unders.
Yeah.
But pairing them with thrusters is a completely different animal.
Exactly. Like, shoulder on shoulder.
Yeah, still very shoulder heavy, but just a different type of shoulder burn.
Yeah, you think about it because double unders, obviously, you've got the shoulder. I think that's just light, like
tension, isn't it? Like you just keep
whereas with the thrusters, They know
the shoulders
that,
get pumped
they know
full
that
of blood
far,
constant.
Yeah.
And you're almost kind of doing an identical movement. I know you're not pressing out, but your arms are going overhead. And like that's pretty savage. But I'm interested to see how it plays out. I mean, Tia's going to win the women's. It's basically like 2 and below for the girls. That's where it's going to be interesting.
Do you reckon though Tia will do a Matt Fraser soon and just be like, I've won it too many times?
No, I think she'll want to win 6.
I think she'll want to go. To me, she still looks like she's got a bit of fire.
She's also quite a bit younger than Matt.
Yeah.
I think she's like 26 or 27. Whereas,
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So whereas Matt hit, obviously he was like 31 or 30. I think Tia, like, because it was a bit like with Matt. When Matt won his 4th, I think he like contemplated retiring at the time, but it's almost like, why would you retire when you can go and win a 5th and like, beat Rich's record? And I feel like Tia's going to be in that same boat. She'll win a 5th and then be like, well, based on her performance, she's still dominating. It's not like she's clinging on, and like she could win a 6th and almost like go out on her own terms, I reckon. Which will be interesting to see.
I mean, in my opinion, like, way back when they did the Rich Froning documentary, someone said like Rich Froning is like that once in a generation kind of athlete who comes along and dominates, fits history. But then obviously Matt came along and did what he did. But I think that could be a fair statement for Tia. I don't know. I mean, obviously time will tell, but I don't see anyone dominating like she has. I mean, I know the female side of things is stacked for the future. You know, we've got Mal O'Brien, Emma Carey, Hayley Adams. Yeah, it's going to make it very, very interesting. But in my opinion, I don't think we're going to see someone win that many in a row for a while.
Yeah,
it will happen.
I don't even think it will happen to the lads again. Not to that degree. Like, and it's not to take anything away from the likes of like Matt or Rich or even Tia for that matter. Is that it's not so much that the athletes are getting better; it's the depth of the athletes are getting better. So like, instead of there being kind of like 10 people competing for a podium, in the next few years,
you'll have like 20.
There'll be more people who have got a chance of winning because the sport's only getting better. These youngsters are coming
especially
through.
because we've said this before. We're now seeing the generation of athletes who have been doing CrossFit since they were like 10, and now they're coming into it.
Well, this is what's quite interesting actually about Medeiros and Hopper. So Medeiros started CrossFit when he was like 13, or he started really young, whereas Jason Hopper played American football at Clemson. So he's obviously transitioned to CrossFit, whereas Medeiros has done CrossFit for a time. I know Hopper's in 16th. He probably hasn't had the best start, but I still think he's got a really bright future in CrossFit. I still think he can go and potentially win again.
He's only what, 22?
He's like 22, 23. I think he just hasn't particularly started very well. It'll be interesting to see though, because like with sport, they always see kind of the best athletes, not necessarily like the best footballers or the best gymnasts, but the best athletes are the ones who do multi-sports, who do loads of different sports. So is someone who's going to say start CrossFit really young, start doing competitive CrossFit really young, are they going to excel at CrossFit, or is it going to be these people who come from different sporting backgrounds and then, do you know what I mean? That'll be quite interesting in the future.
I think with the way CrossFit's going as well now, I think multi-sport talented athletes are probably more beneficial, I'd say, when it comes to like, let's say you've got background in, I don't know, running or triathlon. Like, or you've got a multidiscipline event, and then you're going into, let's say, CrossFit, which is also multidisciplinary. You've got the likes of, well, obviously weightlifting, gymnastics, but then now they're throwing in obviously a lot more, like they say, this is the 11th consecutive year of swimming in the CrossFit Games. Swimming's obviously a lot more, and the distance has gone a lot more. You've now got them bringing in, was it 1 year they brought in shoot? No, wasn't it like the Rogue Invitational?
I don't think that'll happen again.
That probably won't happen again.
A modern bar
but then you've got like kayaking coming in, paddleboard coming in. Even I've got to do paddleboarding at like European Champs. That's going to be something else.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the first day. It's interesting because if you only do CrossFit, you're constantly playing that game, just trying to bring everything up, right, aren't you? You're just like, right, I've got to improve my weightlifting, I've got to improve my gymnastics, I've got to improve my metabolic conditioning. If you come from a background of a different sport, so take Matt for example. Matt came from a weightlifting background. He almost kind of looked at it saying, right, I have this solid base of weightlifting, so I can kind of put that on the back burner, not neglect it, and just focus on these elements. And like say, like someone like a triathlete might be able to be like, oh right, so I've got this conditioning base, I clearly just need to get stronger, so maybe I just focus on that. So it'd be interesting to see where these people come from, like multi-sports or different sports.
Well, it's like saying, was it Hopper? He's come from like football background, like American football background. Instantly, you think American football strong.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a strong weightlifting like aspect, or strong like, let's say, weight-based movements.
Yeah.
So it's like you said.
You'd expect him to be able to like move loads.
Yeah,
and stuff
he
like
can
that.
move, let's say, a heavy load a good few times, and like 1RMs will be quite established. It might just be like technique that brings his up.
Yeah.
But then he can, like you said, like Matt did. Matt knew he was strong in weightlifting. Came from that obviously Olympic like weightlifting background. He could just like work on conditioning, gymnastics. These small events that they bring up with, like swimming, like whatever else Dave Castro thinks to bring out, like kayaking.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever seen kayaking ever.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even like you think about paddleboard last year. You never think of.
There's
that.
always some interesting ones. I didn't think you'd ever see anything like a kayak, to be honest. I mean, I think it's worked quite well looking at it. I think the way it worked out with Tia winning and Koski winning, it's not like it's been like, some random guys just smashed it because it's a kayak.
It's
like,
the same people who've traditionally
the
done well
people
at
still
those events. Yeah.
do well. So like that I think it worked out quite well when it could have potentially not.
Swimming with fins would have been a big game changer.
Yeah.
Because I think I obviously watching it this morning, the commentators said it feels different. Like you're like coming from, let's say, I've swam with like fins and stuff like that, and obviously if you've swam before, you know how it feels when you put a set of fins on. You are so much quicker, but you've got to pace it.
Well, and also only if you know how to swim.
Yeah.
Because if you don't use your legs, because most like people who don't really know how to swim get in the water and like use their arms as much as they can, and
Or
then they just kind of use their legs.
Or they go the other end and they use their legs far too much because they're thinking, right, the faster I kick or the harder I kick, the faster I'm going to go, and then they stop using their arms. Whereas it's actually like, it's kind of like swimming. I think is more of one of these like sports that's you obviously watch it in the Olympic Games. If you when you watch their legs, the legs look like they're doing nothing. But every kick is
like efficient. Yeah.
And it's like you said, Jet, if you've never swam before, and you've got obviously the two opposite ends of the spectrum, you can have someone who will just use their upper body more than their legs, and then you'll have someone who thinks, if I just kick hard, fast, and as like not as technical as possible, they'll think I'm going to go faster, but actually you're probably going to make yourself a lot worse.
That's me now. I'm inefficient in the pool.
Yeah. I'd openly admit it. Like I can swim, but efficiency-wise, in a swimming pool, I'm probably not the best, because as soon as you put me flat, I'm already stood straight back up because my legs just go straight back down to the bottom. Whereas you could put, obviously, let's say the likes of Bing, who's obviously swam before, is a good swimmer.
He's swimming from a young age.
He will naturally probably get in the water and like somewhat float to an extent.
Yeah.
But
if we rewind back to when we were talking about Jason Hopper, I remember. Do you guys know who James Townsend is? He's Mal O'Brien's coach.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when he kind of semi-burst onto the scene? And I think we had a lot of high. I think there was a lot of high hopes for him, because
CrossFit was very different back then.
It was very different. But he was like crazy strong.
Fucking hell. It was like power cleaning like 170 and stuff like that.
As you do.
As you do.
And I saw an interview with him, because he has like an American football background.
Yeah.
I think he was like near NFL kind of level. In his opinion, obviously time has passed, but he believed that if American football players transitioned to CrossFit and you gave them 2 or 3 years in the sport, then they would dominate, just because they have such a good foundation of strength, power.
I think as well with American football, I don't necessarily think it's the sport. Like it is the sport, but it's also the way that sport is run and backed in terms of like the strength and conditioning element in high school into college. Mm-hmm. Like the things they get those kids doing. Like I follow quite a lot of like NFL, like or collegiate level football stuff, and you get like 17-year-old lads like hand cleaning like 160 and stuff like that. It's fucking insane. It's absolutely insane. Obviously, like technique's always like pretty ropey, but they they break it down and always like, right, so, you know, we'll use Olympic lift variations to improve our power, so we'll just do hang cleans because it's technically the easiest aspect of the lift.
I know they'll do, like you said, hang cleans, or they'll do a clean pull.
Yeah, or something like that, or a trap bar jump or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fucking throwing weight around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's necessarily the sport. It's the people, it's the kind of, the things that make that sport really athletic.
I agree.
Because I always think like a really good background for CrossFit is rugby league.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's similar.
It's similar. It's explosive, it's short, and stuff like that. But at the same time, how many guys have won the games who have an NFL background? I don't think there's been anyone yet. So thrown in at a baseball background. Fraser was a weightlifter. Ben Smith, I don't know. I think he might be baseball as well. Miko Salo, Kalipa. Like I don't think there's really anyone who has like a pure.
Who's come from the NFL? Well, American football background.
I mean, people like Cole Sager, like he's done.
Right?
Well, I think he was a good footballer as well.
Okay.
So I don't think many actually come from the NFL because like. I mean, you're basically downgraded.
If you're in the NFL, you know you're
earning some money. So, I mean, I think time will tell with that. Like, because I think as CrossFit becomes more lucrative, you'll have these collegiate level people who might go to the combine, get picked up for an NFL team, but don't quite make it. And they're like, oh, I need to earn some money. I've got all this athletic potential. I'll switch to CrossFit and then earn some money. But I think CrossFit still needs to offer that. Still, I don't think it quite does. I don't think the prize money's there yet.
Yes, it's nowhere near.
It's nowhere near that level. So.
I reckon they could probably sit in an NFL background for longer, not getting paid as much, than dropping back down to, let's say, CrossFit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
I mean, they could probably play in the league below the NFL, whatever that is, the AFL or something like that. Like and still earn more money. Like so, it will take time, but eventually it will. Like one day, I'd imagine the prize purses will increase and people will be able to earn more money, and then that's when I think you'll see more people transition from other sports, and it'll be very interesting. Yeah,
I think the other thing, like America, let's compare America to like the UK. I think coming from obviously studying strength and conditioning, America look into that so much more than the UK. Like,
oh, absolutely. Even just their sport, like their high school sports.
They invest a lot in sports for their. From an educational point of view, like I really hope one day in the future that the UK takes a similar kind of route, because you know you're going to have a lot of talented kids who would excel in sports.
Well, imagine if the UK invested as much as the Yanks do in American football. How much the better like homegrown football.
The thing is, I think with let's say football is still living very much in the past when it comes to training aspects. Like it is all about the old days, like the likes of when you had like Bobby Charlton. How did he get so much better? He was kicking the ball against the wall.
Like being hard. I think it's getting a bit better. I think the only difference with American sport is it's all done through the school.
Yeah.
Right. So like here, like when we play football, you play for your club. So like I play for like Radley, but I went to Lartman school. Like whereas in America, it's just all about school. Like so. Yeah,
whatever school you go to.
You could argue and say there is quite a bit of sport, but it's just the investment's not there. Like in America, they're probably doing like 2-a-days from the age of like 13 with training and stuff like that, especially during the pre-season in the summer. So they're just athletic development from an early age is potentially so much better. I mean, that's why they've practically dominated CrossFit. I know like you're having outliers like Europeans coming in and doing quite well and Aussies doing quite well, but in terms of the whole field, it's still very much dominated by
I think the same, but then like you said that Aussies, AFL, Australian League football, Aussie rules football is very much like rugby and American, kind of like I don't want to say American football,
similar
but
type
like
of fitness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very much similar.
That's what Ricky Garrard came from. Yeah, it was Aussie rules. I know he got pinged for drugs, but he's a fucking beast.
Well, he's back. He can be back now.
No, it was Aussie rules.
Aussie rules.
Oh, okay.
And I think, well, potentially maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
rugby,
he probably played a bit of both.
But he's back now.
Back next year.
Yeah, back next year. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
But like, yeah, I think the UK, like training wise in sports teams, is very much still in the past.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you don't really. Like, I remember I was like for football training, and you just do fucking shuttles all day. Like during pre-season, and just be like, oh, we'll do shuttles today, and you just do shuttles and shuttles and shuttles.
You could get a football team in here doing half the stuff like we do, and they'd probably benefit from it more.
Massively. There was no like core strength development. There was no like.
Even nutrition, you know, like it's still very, very,
yeah.
very.
I mean,
new
the drinking culture in our sport is just on
the early '90s,
like
you know?
Especially in rugby. I mean, it's changed slightly. But if you look at the difference between like rugby union in the '90s to now, like, because what, it turned pro in '95 rugby, like, but just the difference in physiques is fucking insane.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like you were about to say, it's probably like you said, it's like nutrition-wise, like for rugby they're on it, whereas nutrition-wise for football. The thing is, I think the sport-wise is different. Like rugby and football is obviously two different. One, rugby you've got to be physical, you've got to be big.
Yeah.
And that's where you see a lot more strength conditioning coaches.
Yeah, because it helps to be bigger.
Mm.
But whereas,
not bigger, it helps to be more athletic.
Whereas, I think you have the likes of looking at football. When you say a football player, what do you think? Messi, who's very skinny, very agile, like don't want to put on this weight. And then, but with rugby, you've got players that are still agile, built like
brick shit houses.
Yeah, and then can still shift their weight like on a sprint. Whereas footballers, soon as you see a footballer, like is it? They've obviously like Ronaldo. I think is obviously a bit of a different. He's a bit of an exception.
Yeah.
I think
he's
looked into the background of it all, and that is why he's jumping the heights he jumps and stuff like that. But the stereotypical football player is skinny, got to be agile, can't put weight on, looks very, very lean all year round, trains X amount of times a week before a game, blah blah blah, running a certain amount of distances.
It covers a lot of distance,
but I think if you were to bring, obviously coming from a football background, I'd say I'm a bit of a, I wouldn't say like a minority, let's say, of football players. You don't see many football players like with big legs and stuff like that. They're a lot more like leaner, but shifting more back over since quitting football and shifting more over to this. Obviously, I've dedicated a lot more time to CrossFit now than I do to both.
Yeah.
But I think a football player would probably benefit
from that,
from doing even just a couple of sessions.
Yeah, I agree massively.
Tendon wise and ligament wise.
Especially like if you see the types of injuries in football, like hamstring injuries, like cruciate ligaments and stuff like that.
Well, obviously mine's went. I was told I'd never play football again. Obviously proved them wrong, but have I seen any problems since, let's say, doing CrossFit? No, not really. But and I think it is majority of the time. It's like you said, the injuries are tendons, ligaments.
Yeah.
The odd occasional one can be, let's say, a dislocation. But the majority of the time, it's tendons,
often
ligaments,
that's from like an external cause, isn't it? Like a tackle,
whereas
or something like that.
I think even if doing, let's say, 1 or 2 sessions, like Metcon type sessions, or a week, will build that like strength within the ligaments, within the tendons, which could see a drop in injury risk. But football's very backwards at I think, living in the past still.
Well, back to CrossFit to finish this off. Top 3, Tombo, you go, male and female. Who are you saying? We've said this on a few podcasts, but I think you've always changed after, because Cara was one of mine, and now she's gone, I think.
Tia,
we all know Tia,
Hayley, and Christian Halter for me.
I think I'd agree with the same, but I think I might switch. I'd put Hayley in 3rd, and then
Kristen
in 2nd. I think.
So I actually agree with you, to be fair. So Tia, I think she'll smash it. Then Hayley, then Kristen Halter.
Do we know the events for today or any of them?
I haven't checked. I need to check. It's tomorrow. It's the rest day today.
Oh, it's the rest day today.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Lads, I'm gonna go Medeiros. I still got my money on Medeiros to win it. I'm gonna say Velner's gonna come 2nd, and then Fikowski's gonna come 3rd.
You think Fikowski's gonna come 3rd?
I think so, because the lifts are snatch as well, and he's quite a good snatcher.
We haven't seen the max lift yet, have we?
Yeah, so that's on Saturday.
I need to look. I need to look.
What?
I need to look.
I think I'd agree with you there, to be fair, Zach. Just because obviously you haven't got Fraser anymore, so you can't go, oh, Fraser's going to win it.
Yeah.
And it's very open now, like very open. I've still got Noah, and He's very.
He's got a bit of work to do. I think
he's got a bit
he
of
can
work,
do it.
but I reckon he could make it up on the lifts as well. Though, to be fair, he's very strong where it comes there. So I think actually, I might put Noah up there, and maybe instead of I can't say.
So you going for Medeiros, Velna?
Can he pull that back?
Yeah, I reckon so.
So Noah's in 11th right now.
Well, you called Noah, mate. So
yeah, but I'm just adding context. He's got 250 points.
Yep.
So Brett Bukowski's in first with 322.
Yeah, I mean, what's that, 77 points? 72 points? That's easily doable.
I mean, it's easily doable, but it just depends on where everyone else finishes as well.
Yeah. What so are you going to say?
So, I'm going to go...
I reckon there could be after
Justin Medeiros in first.
Mm-hmm.
BKG second.
Yeah.
He's
your boy.
He's my boy. He's just Mr. Consistent, you know. He's just under the radar, but he's always there.
Always peaking.
And it could, you never know. As long as because he's not the strongest. Yonakoski, he's not the strongest. So the strength event will be damage limitation. But I think he could come in third for me.
All right, awesome boys. Thank you, Ash.
No problem. I feel privileged.